Well,
That was amazing. Yeah.
watch live.
Yeah. I keep looking for you, like in your magical wonderland over there.
I'm using my cloak of invisibility, don't you know?
Yes, apparently. Is that a Harry Potter background?
It's the Ravenclaw common room.
It looks pretty good. I like it. It's nice.
Rather nice. You have audio issues.
Me?
You or the werewolf is out. I don't know which.
It was probably the werewolf. I just turned.
I didn't hear any of it.
Oh,
okay.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just checking to see if it was working on YouTube, and it's going well. Yeah.
Okay, you guys let me know. I have my VPN on. I did get a sketchy backdoor Russian VPN that's fast and it works. So that's all I care. My other VPNs failed to work. So it is working. Hi, everybody in the chat. We are super excited to have you here today. We have a very special episode, not because it's my birthday.
Yes.
But because we're going to be reviewing, at least in part, the video we did, the pre-recorded live stream that we did with some dudes from Risevolution on Rumble. They seemed cool. That's what I'm going to start with. So
Generous.
Yes. It went way off the rails, and we're going to probably wrap up. I'm going to have to debunk Archaics, that guy Jason Bashir's, and his entire channel, and you'll see why I have to do that. It was so much fun. I might have to make it a recurring theme because he's got a ton of content and it's all crazy. So I'm happy to tear that stuff apart. I think if anybody is out there, if you guys have questions for us today, we do have this new format.
Yes.
We have some cool stuff going on. But before we get into too much of that, if you don't know, I'm Abbey Quinn. I am an ancient astrologer. I specialize in Sumerian and Mesopotamian astrology in general. All of my information is on my website, and you can find all of that out by going to SumerianAstrology.com. While you're there, you can learn ancient astrology. I have a 15-hour video course. I also have.
Cool.
I know it's fun.
I love it.
You can sign up for our free meditation support group that we do every Sunday from 11 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. We do not meditate on that call. We mostly talk about either new meditation techniques or our issues or successes with meditation, or we talk about anything else going on this weekend. We definitely talked about the drones, and the potential for, the world changing. I kind of feel bad because I downplay everybody's like, oh, I feel something big's coming. And I'm like, no, it's probably going to be fine. Everybody in history feels like something big's coming. But then, maybe there is something. So that was pretty fun. You can definitely join that. And is there anything else? Oh, yeah, you can learn Sumerian on my website. So yes. I'm still posting all of the lessons. Trust me, you will not finish them before I get them all posted because they are intense. They're the best course you will find outside of a university. Now, this is important because I said this to these two gentlemen that we talked to, and it's going to play in later, so that's why I'm kind of hitting it hard. But, other than that, though, Friar, do you want to tell us a little bit about you before we jump into things today?
I do. I think the werewolf is loose.
I don't hear it. Do you guys hear it?
I hear it. Well, I'm wearing my studio headphones, so I hear it.
Okay. Hey, do you guys in the chat hear any werewolves or crazy sounds in the background?
I hope it's not me.
Like a whooshing,
I don't know.
Is that better?
Nikki, I don't hear it. I'm Friar. I'm not calling you a liar.
Well,
I'm just saying that I don't hear it. But you guys in the chat, let us know if you hear a loud sound. Okay, Friar, go ahead while they're typing away at us.
All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Abby.
I have never been spontaneously serenaded before.
Well,
and I was not prepared for it, but thank you. That was really sweet.
There's always a first time. So, yes, happy birthday to you. That's what I want to say. go to my site, friarpesel.wordpress.com. And I triple dog dare you to email me, friarpesel@gmail.com, to talk about my services and offerings and the startling revelations that you will undertake when you do such a thing. So I dare you.
So I'm supposed to follow up with
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
what's
is
your
so awesome. Oh
Do
my
it.
God. You got the cool like voiceover and everything. I'm Nikki. Sounds really bad when I do it that way. Sorry guys. I'm Nikki. I'm an astrologer. I'm a witch. A lot of different things. I like to hang out, talk about the occult. Been studying astrology like super hardcore the last like 2 years. Completely obsessed. I can't stop. I've tried to stop. I do readings. If you want to reach out, my email's in the description somewhere. And yeah, I'm on the meditation calls. I'm on social media, one of them, all of them, some of them, whenever I want, whenever I feel like it, I guess. I'm easy to find though, so get a hold of me. We can just jam.
Jammy
Yeah.
whammy?
Jammy whammy. Yeah.
For real jam. Maybe we
Yeah.
could, put together some sort of. Nikki, do you play an instrument or something? Do you do something? Do you sing?
Oh my, yeah. I used to play trumpet
Okay.
very well, actually. I do sing, but awfully and not very well. But
Maybe like a New Orleans jazz band. We can throw that together.
well, I don't know. Yeah, we could do something. I mean,
We could jam.
yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, why not?
All right, let's do it.
Hell yeah. Like the Partridge Family, but better.
We're gonna get right into this.
Oh man, it's
now,
your party, and we'll fight if you want to.
Yes.
I'm going to do it a different way. When we did we tested out this format the other day, me and Friar, and we tried it with a video file. I'm actually going to try to share my screen. Now, I think I fixed the majority of my video card issues. It has crashed since, but definitely it's not as touchy as it has been in the past. So hopefully I'm not going to have too many issues here. If I do disappear, my wonderful co-hosts are definitely going to step in and save the day and entertain you. So that will definitely
Are you set up? Am I set up as a co-host? I mean,
yeah, I believe
Okay.
so.
all right.
I believe
It's
so.
all new.
right, so hold on, let me see what slide do we got to go to. Hold on, you guys, 1 second for me. We want this one. No, we want the one that shows the stuff on this side. I don't want to just see. Oh wait, hold on. Allow. Yes, allow. Your browser has blocked your screen. Awesome. All right, now's your time to shine, you guys.
Oh my God.
Until I figure this out.
That's all right.
Yeah, mine
So-
did that. Mine did that too, actually. During our reading, Abby, I had a Mac attack. But you don't use Mac, do you?
No,
No,
I do.
I think that's
You
what
do? I like it and I miss it, but I found that I get a lot more work done when I'm not using a Mac.
Gotcha. Well, I worked for Apple, so for me, it's pretty. It's old home.
Oh, I still have an iPhone. I have the newest spyware.
Yes, excellent upgrades.
I know.
the newest
Anytime I talk
spyware.
about anything, it pops up as an ad on YouTube or Instagram.
Yeah, it's
great.
amazing. Try speaking a foreign language. Try speaking a foreign language into that thing, and you'll start getting ads in that language.
I started listening to French pop actually, just because it was beautiful. And now a lot of my Instagram posts are in French. So
Yeah, isn't that
I'm
fun?
like, ooh, yeah.
Ooh la la. Yeah, I like French rap from Marseille, actually.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
It is actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just picking channels. I got a lot of really great music recommendations a couple months ago. And so I've just been like all over the place since then. But I do have to say, I don't know about you guys, but I'm glad this moon cycle is over. Like it's waning, it's going away. And I really, really am so happy about that.
Hey, I'm gonna be right back. Nikki, can I?
Yeah.
Can you tell people about your Chiron enlightenment that you had? Or
Oh,
Yes.
oh my God. Okay, yeah, absolutely. So Friar, oh my God,
Yes.
you're my witness. Okay, so I am going through it a little bit, having the midlife crisis going on, and I'm a very spiritual person. So I'm on my phone and I just cleared my history. Like, I hadn't pulled this article up, but an article by Liz Green came up about Chiron and the sun. And like Chiron's been
Yes.
sitting over my sun for like what feels like for fucking ever. And it's horrible. Or so I thought anyway. And I'm reading this article, very long, detailed article about Chiron and you know what it entails, everything about it. You know, being, you know, a signature of crisis, the wounded healer, all
Right.
of this stuff. And it's conjunct my Venus. So I'm like, oh, this is important. I really, really need to understand Chiron more than just it being the wounded healer and the mythology behind it. So like any other researcher, I looked it up, and Chiron was only discovered in October of 1977.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, so that means we're just all going along with it, you know? What did you say, Friar? You were like, it came from the University of Trust Me, bro.
Pretty much.
And I totally agree with that. And now I've actually removed Chiron from my charts. I'm not going to read Chiron until I do a little bit more research, a little bit more I need more data on it. Like, sure, maybe like other people are reading it and they're like, yeah, this is definitely like a crisis signature or even healing, you know, but I just don't feel like enough research and data has gone into it. It's just like 1977 isn't very ancient to me. Okay. It's like,
it's just another example of they just make it up and they put it out there and that becomes the.
Yeah. And well, and as a student of astrology, I mean, I'm a lifer. I want to know everything. I'm going to flip every rock right over because it should it matters, and it should come up the same. Like the data should be that like 100% the same every time, not just almost, not just kind of.
Yeah, every time. You're absolutely
I
agree with you.
Yeah. So that was my moment. And here I wasted hours and hours reading and pouring. I was like, well, this doesn't really seem like me. This doesn't really seem like this applies, because there's a lot of other factors. There's a lot of other things going on that you could attribute these things to. So, all right, I'll pick it up where I left off.
But that was a good lesson. That was a big fat lesson.
Yeah, and it came on super fast. And here I am, like, talking to other people about where their Chiron's placed. And now I'm wondering, like, were they just going along with it? Were they just like, yeah, crisis? Because let's face it, everybody has one. Everybody has some shit going on all the time, like most of the time. I mean, and if it's not a super crisis, it's just some other fucking thing they're thinking about, you know, some internal crisis. But I don't know. That was a lot of time and energy. And then I'm like, wait a minute. When was Chiron discovered? I should look that up. And then as soon as I did that, I was like, fuck. Mm-hmm. Here I am, 3 hours in, writing notes down, thinking, why doesn't this like really feel like it's matching up? Well, so it wasn't a waste of time, actually, but it felt like it like in the moment. I had to like message Friar and be like, guess what? I just fucking died. Just wasted all this time. I always thought it was so important. I love Liz Green.
That's why people don't give up on tropical astrology, because they're like, I've been a tropical astrologer for 20 years. I can't go back on it now. You know, I'm all in.
Yeah, well, it's ridiculous. You're right. Things need to. You can't change somebody's mind, I guess. If they're about the tropical, then you know that's their path. That's their path.
Yes. You guys, I'm going to set this up for you rather than make you watch much of it. I also have it on twice the speed. I watch pretty much everything on twice the speed. I realize that's not for everyone. Trust me, we're going to glaze through this. You don't need to soak up all of the information that they're going to be telling us. but I do, I just want to be clear. I feel like I should at least introduce them properly. This gentleman on the bottom left, who he's got this little thing over him, the little play bar, so you can't really see him yet. His name is Gregory Schumacher, and this guy over here is Jaron Kenyon. Now, to be fair, this guy, Greg, did not say anything ridiculous or offensive or anything. He was basically the voice of reason. And you could tell whenever this guy over here would say something outlandish, he would kind of step in and try to bridge the gap and like be the peacemaker, you know, as opposed to just letting this dude go on rants. And I assume he understood, and you guys will see this too, that the claims he was making, like, they're not normal claims that a person should ever make in a rational way. And this guy knows it. I don't know if he agrees with the stuff Jaron's saying, but what ends up happening is we come to the realization that these guys are like, Nikki, I'm going to mute you just for a second. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. Unmute whenever you want to when you're ready. I'm going to let it play for a second, so I'll be muting myself over here too in a second. But they're like ARCHAIX, the YouTube channel ARCHAIX, which I have been recommended to many a time. And I never really got into it. It just wasn't my thing. So, but they're like groupies, if not, or at least Jaron is, if not like what I assume is almost like a cult member. So I'm going to go through this real quick. Let me see. What is he doing? They do talk about human design. Keep in mind, I had no idea what human design was before these people even got on. Sometimes Friar talks about like the esoteric junk drawer, and like not in regard to human design, but that's basically what my mind was getting at when they gave us a presentation, which I'm also going to skip through because they do something slightly different. It's quantum human design. It does use sidereal astrology. It was like, this is all of the stuff. It's I Ching, it's chakras, it's a and I was like, okay, you know, that's cool. Like, do your thing. But I asked them a very specific question. I think this is where the question I asked is. So they gave us like the you know, this is what human design is, and when you know, we don't use the false matrix tropical astrology. And so I think this is where I'm starting. So questions, comments, concerns, please put everything you can in the chat. And let's see what happens here.
Oh boy.
It's probably too fast. I'm going to slow it down a little bit.
1.5 maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, stand by. I'm figuring it out.
Yeah, this is all new. This setup is new, folks. So there could be things that happen.
Is it too quiet? Do I need to increase the volume a little bit?
I hear literally nothing of what they're saying. So keep it that way.
Do you hear it now?
Yet.
Stand by.
Yeah, it's okay.
This is why real YouTubers and live streamers have like a production person, so they're not just trying to figure it out all on their own.
On the fly.
So here is the video. Does it have sound? It should have sound. I'm gonna be bummed out if it doesn't, because that means we have to watch the actual.
Oh,
stream.
hell.
I don't want to have to do that, Friar.
Okay, hold me.
You guys, you for real don't hear anything coming out of.
For serious.
Frick. All right. 31:23. All right, we got to do it, you guys. I'll skip ahead. I know I saved my spots. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna get through this together. Stand by.
Happy birthday to you.
Yes, that's gonna be the 18th because we're recording, so we're gonna run with that. Hi everyone. We're not quite live. I am live in the chat. I don't know if Friar's with me, but I am 100% sure. In the chat.
I can hear this, yes.
As we live stream this, in case anybody wants to jump in and chat, we're definitely here. But we are fortunate today to have Gregory Schumacher.
Yes.
You know, choose sides, do this, do that, give your power away to an authority.
Pretty much everything you guys have said. This is just me being curious over here because, you know, I'm obviously an astrologer, and I talk to a lot of people, but a lot of astrologers too. I can see, like what you said, Gregory, about, you know, this is like the ego self. I can kind of see that. I think
as in my sun sign of an Aquarius.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'll go back to it. But basically what they were saying, I asked them why tropical astrology, like what's your justification? Why would anybody use that? And they're like, oh, well, that's like the matrix version. It's like it represents the ego self. And I thought that was a slightly better answer than some of the other crazy nonsense I've heard before, where, you know, they try to make excuses as to why tropical is still valid. So that's what we're talking about as we catch up to this question here. Away from the original system. Along the same lines, though, I wonder, take this for what you will, have you looked into, and I'm bringing this up because the classical astrological system is in itself a matrix. And I'm wondering, have you guys looked into like the original meanings that predate the classical astrological system at all?
I haven't personally. Yeah. It's just my, this is just my, I guess my experience of many different people, listening to them and seeing what makes sense to me, and what makes sense to me on a daily life experience. Everything I've gone through with my awakening,
I'm just going to skip a little bit, you guys, because like I said, he's the voice of reason. So we're going to just glaze through.
for certain values of reason.
Yeah, like voice of reason for what we're talking about right now. So
there is many tough things to add to that.
Yeah, it's I'll respond to the question in the sense of you know, what is history? Well, it's programming, it's codes. I don't know how much of real history is actually real or not, and that gets into all kinds of talks. But I love that you brought up, you know, the element of the Greeks, which kind of invented the current constellations that we see before us and brought it to places you'll find even in the Vedic, they'll tell you that it entered from the Greeks. And
okay, so what he just said was the Greeks invented astrology. So clearly at this point, they did not look me up. They didn't look at our channel. They have no concept, because this idea that the Greeks invented astrology comes directly from Jason Brashears, who is the guy who runs the ARCHAIX channel. So I'll just let him go.
By the way, you need to read Revelation in Greek, not in Hebrew. It's in Greek. We're in the second seal right now. By the way,
by the way, he does not speak Greek, nor does Jason Brashears. So I don't know.
Into our kind of stuff, we always brought great positive.
Friar, help me out. Where was I? 32?
No, I wasn't.
My screen is tiny. I know you're tuned out. This is very uncomfortable for Friar Pesel right now. Just
I think you're pretty close, actually, because
for a lot of people,
yeah,
what was then and the environment then, and including the technology then, versus post cataclysm. There's been many cataclysms. That's only one of them.
Into the pond. Add to that.
Yeah, it's
he's gonna catch up. I'm gonna let him go. But basically, what he's about to say now is he's trying to say that he does not believe in history in the current timeline. And again, this comes right from that ARCHAIX show. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments, if anything, if you guys have ever checked out that channel.
Of the Greeks, which kind of invented the current constellations that we see before us and brought it to places you'll find even in the Vedic, they'll tell you that it entered from the Greeks. And by the way, you need to read Revelation in Greek, not in Hebrew. It's in Greek. We're in the second seal right now, by the way. But all these astrologies, and I'm into Nadi too, right? I mean, there's all these more original forms of astrology beyond just speaking to it in terms of the present day and true sidereal, or obviously the tropical false system. But what you find out is a lot of these things are post cataclysm, and these people, wherever they may be, with their frames of reference, would be doing this, you know, hundreds of years later and try to keep the knowledge or try.
I don't know if you guys can tell on my face here now. It's starting to kick in. Like, what? Hundreds of years later? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I was moving slow. I think me and Friar were talking to each other, like what's going, I don't know what's happening. So like if you see me spacing out at times, it's probably because we were chatting with each other privately. But this is really where he starts to let on that he's on something really strange.
Try to remember the knowledge and either manipulate it on purpose or kind of just misperceive it. And so things has been lost in time of what the real history was, and including our forms of astrology. And to me, there was this completely different environment post what we call the flood of Noah, 2239 BC.
Yes, he said the flood of Noah occurred 22 whatever something. I already forgot. My brain doesn't hold numbers. Basically, like 2,000 years before Christ, or before the Common Era, however you want to say it. That's crazy. Like there's no archaeological evidence that even remotely points to that. But I'm going to debunk this even more thoroughly here soon. But I'll let it go.
Of what was then and the environment then, and including the technology then, versus post cataclysm. There's been many cataclysms. That's only one of them. There was a bigger one later, a couple bigger ones later. But that's really where a lot of these things have formed, as you'll see what was after, what was before, and the ways that things have shifted. So I just want to say we promote Jason Brashears of Archaics, and I feel like everyone could and can go there to witness, if you want to see more of what's true history versus the falsified history, to an unbelievable standpoint, to help see this realm and the cycles we go through and the phoenix resets that we go through every 138 years. So
okay, so he just, and all this stuff I had to figure out later because I didn't know what he was talking about. He basically, this Jason Brashears guy from Archaics is saying that he figured out that the whole universe is a simulation, and there's like a timing cycle written into the simulation, and every 138 years all of civilization goes through a reset. Now me and you and everybody watching this video, like all of us, we're on the same page here. We know that's ridiculous because we have critical thinking skills, and through like simple deduction, we can conclude that probably doesn't happen every 138 years. I don't know, last I checked, what the how many like subscribers this dude has, but I did hear from someone that it's blown up in the last few years, and some people think he's basically like a psyop, that he has people like he's getting paid or encouraged to promote just totally whacked out stuff to keep people from apparently critical thinking on their own part. So yeah, okay, I lost my train of thought. We'll let him go.
as we enter into that 2040, as we move towards the direction of graduation, I'm going to just finish with this. Pluto goes into Aquarius in 2040.
Nikki, can you verify that? Can anybody in the chat verify? I was going to check it out. You guys know my numbers don't work in my brain. It sounds like it should still be way farther away. Pluto's, right? Like, does that sound, Nikki, can you find out for us?
Okay. Pluto goes into Aquarius 2040, same time frame. Aquarius ruled by what? Well, we say that that's ruled by, Uranus in the modern day, true. But also the ancients say it's ruled by Saturn. And it's both. And to me, that's the split off.
It's not.
Anu, right? Anu, heaven, Uranus, beyond the construct, the light that comes beyond the reflection of the moon, beyond this realm, towards ascension. Or Satan, Saturn, not bad, part of the experience, right. Titan planet, continuing here.
Hey, if anybody has never read the Bible, you guys don't know, Satan was the adversary.
Yes.
He was one of God's angels and was all that like antithesis of the divine. That was all later Christian concoction. It had no place in the Old Testament, just so you guys know. So any
and well, there's more to it too, because Saturn is associated with a certain Middle Eastern religion, and so he's equating Saturn with Satan, which is like a kind of foreshadowing.
I don't know. The entire time he was talking, I'm just like, help. I'm kind of glad I had to work and I wasn't on the show. So Pluto is going to be on the edge of Capricorn, but I don't have time to look to see if he's going to go back and forth. You know, he's still going to be in Capricorn in 2040, and he's probably going to be there till like 2041.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, if he's retrograding, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here. Yeah. This
Some
guy.
people in the comments are asking if this is the Archaics guy talking. No, it isn't. Every Archaics is Jason Brashears. These are just like, this is clearly one of his devotees. His entire concept of the cosmos is like built around him, and apparently this is a common theme with people who are really into this guy. So I'm gonna thoroughly debunk shortly, but I'm gonna let this guy rant a little bit more first
as we traverse to 2040. So again, back to the little bit of a split off. Now we can say frames of reference of, were the constellations even there? No, they more looked at the Pleiades, they looked at Orion, they looked at.
No, they didn't. Nikki looks embarrassed.
Jesus Christ, no, this isn't this. Okay, just let him just keep burying himself.
Whatever, you know, but we're just looking at coding in the sky. So I'm not answering your question. I'm sure I'm kind of babbling.
No,
but we'd have to talk for like, 16 hours to go into some of those awesome concepts, and I'd love to hear, your knowledge in it.
I'm gonna drop the knowledge. Well, let me see. Well, the cool thing is when the Sumerians come on the scene, and as far as civilization is concerned, although I think that most of their culture was inherited, a lot of people say that they came, they invented the wheel, writing. I don't think that that's the case. I think that they just happen to be the ones who kind of got things together after, the end of the last ice age first, and they did a good job of preserving. We got lucky. They didn't really preserve the records. It just happened to be the environment where these clay tablets were found was dry enough to keep them from being destroyed. So a lot of, just so you guys know, as he's like smiling and nodding, he's literally thinks I'm insane. He thinks that I'm just a part of the Matrix. I've been lied to by people like Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock, and I'm just like totally off my rocker right now. So just keep that in mind. Just good fortune. But from that period onward, up until right about, I'm going to say, well, basically the classical period, astrology, the concept of the constellations, the meaning of the planets, it had a 4,000-year period where it was pretty much the same. So even after these conquering, I'm using sarcastic air quotations, conquering cultures, the Akkadians, the Babylonians, and some back and forth in between, they maintained the ancestral information that the Sumerians were the first to really document, mostly through mythology, although they did, they had, they were very careful tracking the movements of the planets and the moon and everything. It wasn't until the classical period that you get a dramatic shift into something completely different. And I say this because most people just don't know. But that period is almost not recognizable when you go farther back. So if you consider like from the classical period till now, we have about 2,000 years, and astrology has had some changes, obviously, yes, tropical zodiac. We've had the migration of astrology to India, Arabic astrology, there's a whole medieval, it's a whole thing, there's layers, but it's all based on these Greek ideas, namely the modalities of fixed, mutable, cardinal, the randomly assigned planetary rulerships that the Greeks just came up with out of nowhere, okay? And also the assignment, the systematic assignment of the elements to each of the constellations. And that's actually the basis of all, even true sky astrology, sidereal astrology that's using the real constellations. They're still basing it all on this, what I consider to be like a complete fabrication. Now, is there overlap in the meanings? Absolutely, there is. We got lucky with a lot of them. Pisces is one. You can kind of tell just from, their fish. It's a watery sign, that correlates to the original meanings. Some of them, unfortunately, like Capricorn, completely different. Capricorn in the ancient world was Tashmetu. She was the grantor of requests. She's just love and nurturing and affection and devotion. And that has been completely stripped away in classical Jyotish, all of it. So the reason why I asked it was because it would be interesting to see if you dug into that to see how that could affect, like, well, not just, you know, your processes, your but also like your clients and everything. It's very interesting. I know in my experience, I started out doing tropical pretty much like everybody else, right? I tiptoed into Jyotish a little bit and it was still kind of wonky. So I really wanted to, like you guys said, like I wanted to break out and be like, what's going on? I needed to know, like, where did this all start? What went wrong? When I switched to the sidereal zodiac, I bumped up my accuracy rate, like probably up to me, I'll call it 75%. I can honestly say 100% of the readings that I give at this point using the original meanings, I get 100% accuracy. I have never had a single person, now that person could come up, I'm sure, be like, no, that doesn't resonate. I don't really know. That's not really, you know, the thing. So there's, I'm bringing this up because, well, obviously I'm curious, but also there's power in this, the ancient meanings, which, as I said, I think it way predates the end of the Younger Dryas. I think that they were hanging on to whatever, you know, whatever shreds, whoever the survivors were, and they just kept it going for as long as they could. And it's significant that not just the Sumerians, but the Akkadians and the Babylonians, they maintained their language for reasons that supposedly scholars don't really know. But it would be like, so what would happen every time one of these other civilizations would come on the scene? They would recopy all of their own documents, all of their histories into the Sumerian language. And this happened for over 2,000 years. And the way I like to equate it is, imagine the British when they went into India and started occupying it, if they went and translated all of their legal documents, all of their history, everything into Sanskrit. That's the type of thing that you would do if you believed the language itself has some sort of coded message, some deeper meaning and value. And so we find that when you look at the original Sumerian meanings, there's so many layers. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm not a big Zecharia Sitchin fan. I don't know if you guys are into that, but he just doesn't know it. He tells us about it later, but he definitely is. One of the things he does get right is that when you're reading these ancient myths, they're not just talking about one event, they're talking about multiple events, different time periods. Some of it's real, some of it's, you know, archetypes. And so but these cultures in Mesopotamia, they were very wise when it came to like layering all of these centuries of information. So it was more, I guess I was just kind of curious, and I'd be interested to see in the future if you guys ever go down that path and take a look at it to see how much more information you're kind of able to pull out. Okay, I think Greg is going to jump in here and say something totally rational and reasonable. So I'm just going to skip ahead. What seconds am I at? I need to get to about 51:30. That's where I want to go.
By the way, while you're doing that,
yeah,
I'm just going to mention there was a point where I tried to engage in a reasonable way. I was asking about like the concept of 5G because it's one of those terms that gets thrown around, and I just wanted to get some clarification on
5D?
it. 5D.
Yeah.
Because I'm a 5G, you know.
A lot of the stuff they said made sense in the beginning. It wasn't until they started to let their guard down, I think, that
Right.
like they started to go terribly amiss. And this right here, what we're about to show, is where that happens. Thanks for sticking around with us, guys, with our technical difficulties and whatnot in here. We'll continue forward here.
Aware of time, and they're aware of, and they have the technology, and they know the resets, and they keep control. And this is what happened. There was a 360 days that you can
Casting spells that are
all right. We got
really the negative of a manifestation, right? And that's what I feel like the English language is full of. It's full of opposite. So that's what I want to say there.
Yeah, I agree.
Good.
100%.
Good stuff. Yeah. False use of language, false use of time. Some of our challenge here that we're arriving to is using language correctly and arriving at the true timing of nature. I just love what you had to say there. And a lot of things start to become solved when you get out of the uniformitarian model, which includes the Ice Age and things like that are promoted on purpose. And you arrive to what we knew before, that you can find and you can cross-correlate to realize we have cycles and epicycles. We have different calendrical cycles. And when I say reset, I don't say it in a dark way, although it is dark to a certain capacity if you're viewing it as a human perspective. But if you're viewing it as a spiritual perspective, and then you recognize that technology is reset. We've had it many times, much more advanced than we have now. You realize that the winners always write the past in the ego game, but things have been saved, things are there, and you start to see things happen quickly here in these epics. They do not happen slow. We did not evolve through millions of years. And to me, and what we've learned, this element of the Ice Age, right, and stuff like that, that's to promote thousands and thousands of years of evolution through time, as opposed to these resets that we go through. And so, for example, a shar means a day, not a year.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys can tell on my face. I'm like, okay, wait, something's totally wrong. Like, this dude tried speaking Sumerian at me. So yeah, he doesn't know what he's getting himself into at all.
So when you start to discover all these things that they try to paint back hundreds of thousands of years, the 7 kings list, all these things, and you realize it meant a day. And at that time, there was a 360-day year, not a 365-day year. You start to see, wait a minute, this wasn't as far back as I thought it was. And it all starts to fit, and it all starts to make sense. And all the calendrical systems, this is getting back into Jason Bashir's work, but all the calendrical systems match up. The vapor canopy fell 2239 BC. When that happens, it causes ice in the poles.
I still have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. I can tell on Greg's face, though. Greg's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. You can tell on it. He's like,
right now.
shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
The vapor canopy fell. Is that the green netted thing that I've seen up in the sky? Like, come on, what the hell are we?
I think it's a biblical thing.
Yeah. There's something like, like when God separated when the earth was void and without form, and there was no light and day and whatever. And this Archaics guy says it's because there was a vapor canopy. But I'll let him go.
When the vapor canopy is present, there is no ice around the perimeter, nor in the Arctic, the center of this realm, this bowl, and it melts. And so this explains some of this, but what you have is cultures hundreds of years later surviving, because they're survivors, with different frames of reference. And then what you have is these people from the underworld that go down there and hide, and been doing this forever, rule the realm, part of the game. Not good people if you're going to view it from a human perspective. They come back up, they reset society, they build society, and they tell what they want to tell. And these beings, these humans that are left, we say, wow, that's an alien, or that's a god, when really they're just advanced technological people that are aware of time, and they're aware of, and they have the technology, and they know the resets, and they keep control. And this is what happened in all things, including the Sumerians. When the Anuna come back up, this is what's presented. And then I'm going to agree with you, the last 2,000 years, I hate to say it, but let's just say this. The tiny hats got their hands on a lot of things and manipulated and changed a lot of things and put themselves in places where they weren't, and manipulated a lot of stuff that we're unraveling right now.
Okay, so I don't know if you can see my face. This is where I'm like, did he just fucking
this is where the chat between you and I just exploded.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, there's no way this is really happening.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not have enough sense to, like, you don't know us. We're not like,
you can literally see the information hit your head and go all the way down into your body, reverberate, come back up, and you're like, you fucking see it.
Yeah. And for the people at home who don't speak, dog whistle, let me just tell you, this cock juggling thunder cunt just said that the Jews are rewriting history.
Yes, that is exactly what he said.
I'm really glad I wasn't on this call, because I would have been like, what does that mean? What is that tiny hat? Because I literally was oblivious. I had no idea. I'm like, who wears little hats? Like, what the fuck?
It ain't the Smurfs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking. It had to have been the Smurfs.
Of course.
It was really hard to focus after that, because me and Friar were just writing to each other nonstop, and he was like, well, I was like shaking. I was like, oh my God. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, I was pissed, but I'm like, I gotta manage I don't know what to do. I just didn't expect it, but he was furious, you guys. He was livid. And he kept it together until the end. So he was a professional, but we'll let him.
Until I wasn't.
Yes.
Of the real calendrical systems, and then of course, as the real languages and whatnot. So I'll stop now, because I could.
Okay, so
it's a fun topic to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. So help me out. So you're saying that you don't agree with like the time period of like the Younger Dryas, like the end of the last ice age being around, what do we say, 10,500 BC or 900 to 10,005? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Graham Hancock and Zechariah Ascension, the whole thing, that's all agents. No,
Well,
I don't.
Sitchin was definitely, he didn't even speak Sumerian. It's pretty bad, actually.
No, they're all agents. Same.
You guys, I'm a huge Graham Hancock fan, because he cites all of his sources, sometimes to the point where it's ridiculous and obnoxious. That guy, he backs up everything that he states with some level of evidence. He's not just spouting off like nonsense and theories, but I'll let him go.
Ones that are going around now, the Billy Carsons, the Graham Hancocks, all that kind of stuff. No, we don't. Greg and I don't. That's because we have different awareness of what we've been witnessing and discovering and learning
they're just
from.
super
So
smart.
again, it's important to go to the ARCHAIX channel, but absolutely not. That's what they want you to think. For example, Atlantis, 1300 BC. The Sea Peoples Federation. It is not some mystical thing that goes back thousands of years. If you start to explore, you will see when Plato and whatnot,
Atlantis was the Sea People Federation.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, the Sea People.
BC.
Just 1300 BC?
Yeah. Like,
oh my God.
Then why didn't all the surrounding cultures around that time, why didn't they talk about it? Why is it just some obscure reference from the Egyptians?
Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of seems like all of their dates are set around the Bible.
Well, he's going to
explain what
happened. No, it's worse than that. I wish it was centered around the Bible. That would make way more sense.
Time was already corrected. Again, this Shar equals a day, a turning of a star, not a year. And that starts to change everything, because you have to divide everything by 360. And you start to see that the resets and the shifting of the biosphere changes much more than we think. Okay, and it happened in 1902. We had a small one in 1902. That was the last one. And in that, all the Fortune 500 companies came. Air conditioning is developed, Harley Davidson, all these things you'll start to discover, even in a smaller edit. When I say edit, it's not just a destruction. It's also like what we call Mandela effect and all those types of things. Beings enter the realm, exit the realm. Things are shifted. They come up from under. They rule the epic. And so there's, so I know not to spark anything, but no, I don't agree with the Younger Dryas and all that junk, that they have no proof of anything to do with Ice Age and a million things they'll try to explain about it. But it all is actually, when you start to realize the vapor canopy and then the lack thereof the vapor canopy, it explains a lot of the things that they don't want us to know, that during this time of revelation, we're now remembering.
Okay, so I don't know who put out, you said Shar means one day.
Yeah, it's a
I
unit
love
of
how you
time.
don't even
It's a-
know where to go. You don't even know what to say about this shit. Like resets,
Yeah.
resets. It's all resets.
My-
Like it happened in 1902. We
Yeah.
got technology, guys. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sorry. I'm
It's okay. My first thought when this like change occurred was, welp, this video is unusable. Welp.
Yeah, but it's totally usable. Look how much fun we're having.
yeah, this is interesting. This is like I'm confused because he's talking about times that are like at the same time. Like I don't get what he's trying to say, but yeah, keep going.
I went to the Archaics channel and I watched the videos and I figured out what was going on. Now, as he's talking, it was all nonsense words. You guys, just so you know, it's not the time of the end of the last ice age is not up for debate. Maybe by like 500 years or so, but the geological evidence is all there. The debate is around what caused it. I'm a proponent of the impact hypothesis, where like some big comet hit the Earth or whatever happened, or not comet, but cometary debris hit the Earth. But it could have been a CME. It could have been some other crazy process. We don't know. But
could have been volcanic activity. It
yeah,
could have been a lot of different things.
It's not a debate. Like some things you can say for sure didn't happen, and some things definitely did. But I
totally believe the ice age happened.
Yeah, the Earth was frozen for not all completely, but really cold for a very, very long period of time. We're actually in a warm period right now, which is unusual. But it'll probably swing back around. But Jaren's going to educate us a little bit more.
Turning of the star.
Well, Shad in Sumerian means 3,600. I know Sitchin used Shad.
Shar, S-H-A-R, Shar.
Yeah. In Sumerian, that means it means a couple of things. So it means the number 3,600. It also can mean whole, totality. In the cuneiform sign that they use with it is actually a solid sphere, which is interesting because a lot of people say the Sumerians thought that the Earth was flat, but there's no evidence that they believed that whatsoever. And as a matter of fact, their use of a solid sphere to describe the Earth in the horizon in the world is another indicator that they recognized, what was going on. It's very interesting. So I'm looking at not from a Grant Hancock or Randall Carlson or any of those people, but from an unbroken chain of documents from Mesopotamia in particular. They were, in some cases, if you look at like the King's List, I mean, we could make that argument. Yeah, they're speaking in code, but they don't. There were some minor cataclysms, some smaller ones that they describe. But again, this goes back to like their records are maintained. There is a minimum of it's like 2,000 to 4,000 years where the Mesopotamian civilization, while they did have some issues here and there, it was like it does not reflect any type of massive cataclysm or I'm not, you'll have to forgive me, like it's new you guys, I don't get out much. I have my head buried in white papers and ancient records and stuff. I'm kind of dorky. So I'm unfamiliar with some of these things that you're describing. I'll definitely have to, you said it's on Archaics, like they talk about it and they go into some of the detail. I'm unfamiliar with it because there's no indication as far as I've seen that there is anything major outside of more localized cataclysms during any of those periods over at least the last 4,000 to 6,000 years. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is that the written record itself is very clear that while there are some minor cataclysms, there's periods of floods and disease or whatever. There's no evidence of, aside from the flood, like the flood myth, but that predates their period. They're talking about something that happened way in the past. They're not talking about like, yesterday Enki, decided to save Utnapishtim and all of humanity with all these things. They're talking about something that happened like a way long time ago. So this guy, this Jason Bashir's guy, he spent, I believe, 21 years in prison. And during his time in prison for, I believe he was convicted of aggravated sexual assault, okay? He got access to over 130 some books and manuscripts and sacred texts and went through all of these and figured out that there's this magical reset, this phoenix event that happens every 138 years. But the way that he does this is he has to retranslate the word shad, the Sumerian word shad, which was totally, I don't know if you watched Jaren's face when I was telling him what it meant. He's like, you could tell he's like having a moment. His brain's malfunctioning because he just thinks that means this other thing. He has no idea that his this guy who he's his guru is basically just totally off his rocker, has no idea what he's talking about. So when he does this, he basically took every 3,600 year period and he condensed it down to one day, which means that history is only like 2,000 years old prior to like the Common Era. So like all of history is only 5,000 years old, which is way dumber than I can even wrap my brain around. But that's basically what just happened. But it's interesting. I'll definitely have to look into it.
Yeah, Abby, the stuff that we are trying to explain it's
Way
hard to
more
explain it in, an hour.
Yeah, I know. It's a ton of information for sure. I get it.
I mean,
It's
guy
like they're
Jason
trying to
Bashir's-
convince you the earth is flat or something.
I would actually, I think that would be.
That probably would have been a better argument.
Yeah, it would make way more sense than some of the stuff that they're coming up with.
Who is archaics. He's the amount of books he's read and the amount of things he speaks about is just astronomical. And so you'd have to experience it and have to start to learn little at a time because it is mind-blowing. Again, as I explained to you, if you knew something for a very long time and then it's all suddenly messed with and you're like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense to me because I know this, this, and this. So you have to really kind of unprogram yourself in that sense and then just kind of bring in this new information and see if it resonates, right? And that's
just let us
that's
brainwash
who
you.
we are
Just
here
let
on
us
this,
brainwash you
in this realm
exactly
to
what
do,
we believe.
right?
And then we'll just change our beliefs. Like when you start questioning it, we'll just change the date. We'll just like find a way to make whatever it is we're making up work.
You got to.
This is giving only ones, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to deprogram yourself so you can get this new program that this guy Jason Bashir's has come up with. So
their perspective. So it's all about where you want to go and what truth you want to discover. You can go, nowadays, with Google and everything else, anything you want to believe, you can go find something that will back up that belief. And you will go down that path and go down that path. And you can keep on finding things. Because that's the way this kind of prism of a light show we live in. It's a paradox. So to find the real, genuine truth, you have to follow that intuition and you have to be willing to walk through the uncomfortable truth and see if that resonates with you. But again, explaining this kind of stuff in a very short period of time is very difficult for people to learn. Even cosmic human design is a very difficult thing to explain in a very short period of time. It's a hard sell to people who don't know what the heck it is.
You notice they barely talked about cosmic human desigin the entire time.
Well, they did in the beginning.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I watched it. Yeah, space bong stuff. Okay.
He feels like this is going to unlock some powerful stuff in me. This feels great. So these are
seeing your 60 state in a small amount of time. Like Greg said, back to the cosmic human design real quick, because we're talking about constellations and this and that and original names and when they were spun and all that. Within the human design system, other than astrology, the true sidereal being a major aspect to the coding, the actual language and the actual meanings of things come from the I Ching. And so we're looking at the 64 element archetypes of the hexagram. And that's actually what reveals the codon, the DNA of what's going on. And so we're looking at mediums through different types of filters, not only that, but the hexagrams. And so if you think of technology, which is a 64-bit system of zeros and ones, that's what it is. That's what we're seeing. in your cosmic human design. You are seeing your 64-bit system of zeros and ones. Where am I masculine? Where am I feminine? The 9 chakras, not 7, the 9 centers, and then what connects between one.
Yeah, he totally thinks he knows about chakras and stuff too, which I didn't even go down that page.
I've been trying to follow like everything he just said in that like 2-minute, like not even that one. I'm like, what the fuck is he even saying? Like he doesn't make sense at all. Like
he's
the I Ching, he brings the I Ching into it, and then
that's the
Okay.
amalgamation of all of the stuff. You know, he's got the truth, Nikki. We're programmed. We don't know what we're talking about.
You're right. Yeah, let's just let him.
Well, now he's going to give us a presentation, and then I believe Friar gives him a quiz. And we're going to just get to the end of the quiz here. We're going to skip ahead. Hold on. I think it's right about here. And Friar was, despite how full of rage he was, he managed to make funny accents and all kinds of stuff when he was doing the quiz. Oh, but I don't know where I put it. But basically, at one point, Greg does this cosmic human design thing where he shows it. Where is that thing at? And he's like, Abby, do you have any questions? And I was like totally zoned out. I had no idea. It just sounded like all kinds of stuff because me and Friar we were talking in the background like, oh, this can't really be happening. But I said something like, yeah, the same thing happens to me. Like, I'm a savage. I don't really, sometimes these concepts are too hard for me. I have a hard time when Friar starts telling me about Kabbalah. And I made some other comments,
Yes.
but I make one here too. So hold on, let me see if I can find it. So this is right at the end of Friar's quiz, I believe.
Manatee.
I mean,
by the way, you guys, they didn't have most people don't know what a lot of these are, and I'm among them. Okay, I have no idea what like half this stuff is. We split it between the two of them 50-50, and they didn't know what like any of the stuff was, like none of it.
Transurfing.
pass.
Twin flames.
No.
UFOs.
I mean, from below, yes.
Okay. Any yes is as good as the other. Veganism.
No.
Voodoo.
Pass.
Voynich manuscript.
Pass.
Witchcraft.
I mean, yes.
Wilhelm Reich.
Yeah.
Xenobiology.
Pass.
Yaga.
Yes.
Younger dry-ass impactor.
No.
And Zacharias Sitchin.
I mean, there's good
Okay.
stuff there, but I'm going to say no.
All right.
Okay, Friar, I
Okay.
do have to tell you, the younger dry ass impactor. That's exactly what it sounds like. Okay, I have to say it before I forget.
Okay. Good.
I know you told me what it is, but it sounds exactly how you say it. Actually, so
Yeah, that's the
I can
answer.
see why somebody would be like, "No,
Yeah, but he knows.
no, I don't want that."
He knows what it is.
Hey, you did it.
Yep, you made it. You survived.
You survived.
There's no prizes,
No.
definitely some topics of conversation in there.
Yeah.
I desperately wish, because I'm a mega huge history buff, you guys. Like I'm super into it, and some of these things you're telling me about, like the younger, like I've gone into it in some detail, and it seems like it's there. So I don't know. Okay, so this is the guy who is on everybody tells me like, oh, go to the ARCHAIX channel and like watch his stuff. I think I did. I think I tried. But I have a short attention span and I'm reading most of the day. So I don't know anybody out there, like they're like, oh, you should talk to this person, or, it's actually, I have a low bullshit tolerance. So I think that's really what it was. Get these people for your live stream. I don't know anybody. I'm being honest with you. Does he have a book or something? Like
He's written 17 books or so, but he's got several books, hundreds and hundreds of citations.
None of which are available for anyone to look into. Okay, just so you guys know, if you go try to figure out like what his sources are, there you cannot find them. Okay.
900 videos. It's hard to answer and give you the simple way.
Sure. Do you know, does he like what languages he speaks by any chance?
He's from Texas. He's English.
I mean, like, does he speak Sumerian, Akkadian, ancient Greek, Latin, like any of those by any, like, because what you were saying too, you were like, yeah, you should
No.
read Revelation in ancient Greek, or Greek. It's a totally different ball game. You're absolutely right, which is interesting. Okay.
Yeah. We're at small knife, dagger all around the world at once. Second seal, not great sword, for example. Yep.
Yeah, Revelation's cool. It's one of the
Gotta say, I
well,
was
it's coolest book in the New Testament. Anyways, I'm sorry.
What's that? What's that, Greg?
said during, I had my mic muted, but I was laughing pretty hard at some of those lists of things, and Jaron trying to say yes or no.
I felt the same.
I
Because
like
you
to
don't
feel.
know. Like, if you say yes to Illuminati, are you saying you want to be an Illuminati? What are you saying?
Yeah, are
It's
you giving it
hard
your
to, like,
seal of approval, or
Right,
are you
yeah.
saying it doesn't
I
exist?
don't know
Like,
what's
what are
going
you
on here. What did I
Nobody
just
knows.
get to?
Yeah, so nobody
Great
knows.
stuff. In your pronunciation of them, Blair, or what is it? Is it Friar?
Prior.
Friar, I'm sorry, Friar.
Yeah, his German Jew was coming out for sure.
Yeah.
I was trying my hardest to drop the hints, you guys. I don't think they were getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had like, I'm looking through my list of notes, you guys. I scribble while I'm talking, and it's so hard to dig some of this stuff out. Okay, so all right, we'll definitely. He's gonna talk about UFOs, so he's gonna dig his hole just a little bit deeper before he goes. Kegs fans, we'll have to go farther into that for sure. Friar, did you have anything? Did you have? I know I tend to monopolize the questions and whatnot. Did you have any questions or comments?
I want to hear views on the Anunnaki. Let's do that.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're gonna ask about that.
Tell me about the Anunnaki, gentlemen.
Yeah, what do you guys think? I don't know how he was
Well,
so calm.
There's a lot to unpack there. With the planet X, or that kind of thing, it does seem like we are made here, and whether it was the Anunnaki who kind of came down here, there's a mining story, right? They wanted.
He's referencing Sitchin. He has no idea he's referencing Sitchin. The whole concept of like aliens come down to mine the earth for gold and they create human beings to basically be their slave, whatever. It is true that the creation myths do talk about, in some of them, they're not all, carbon copies of each other, but that Enki, basically the gods were bummed out because they had to do all this work, and they do ask Enki to like fashion some people. But that's not the whole like mining gold and trying to, Jaron says earlier, like they're really trying to mine our golden aura. That's all stuff that Sitchin put out there. And if you guys don't know, I say this anytime he comes up, but he was totally out of his mind. I mean, he tells a great story. He's a great writer. It's fun to listen to his books and everything, but they're not. He twists the truth around to fit his narrative, and it's so obvious. He doesn't cite sources. He didn't speak Sumerian. It's a whole thing. So, but that's what they're talking about, and they don't even know that that's what it's based on.
Gold and then whatever else off this planet, and so they made us, and they, bred us to be part of this place to get this, mining thing undone. But I don't know. I mean, it's a hard thing to. I haven't thought about it in quite a while, I guess you could say. I kind of researched this in my 20s, and I haven't really revisited it too much. I haven't been down that path, but I mean, it is a very possibility that we are kind of created in a petri dish, so to speak, and.
I also think that's possible. Just so you guys know, if you're wondering out there, I think.
Well, these guys are definitely bacteria, so.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that we don't, we talked about after the call, but for Jaron to just drop the tiny hat comment, like right out here in what is now public.
Simple, like.
Hold on.
Yeah.
That's something that they talk about regularly. You don't just drop the N-word in casual conversation unless you're saying it all the time, like in your,
Right.
in your own personal life.
And that was part of my dilemma, was like, I can't let this go because I don't want our audience to think that we're on board with this. And so I was angry for a lot of reasons, but one of them was that they basically put me in a position to where I was gonna have to push back. And that's I really don't enjoy that. So
No, that's like, because you're the 5. Are you the 5?
I'm the 9. I'm an Enneagram 9. I prefer
Oh,
peace to truth.
Okay.
But but here's the thing. I also realized that for my overall health, I need to stop doing the bad Enneagram 9 things and to actually try to push back when it's time to push back. And I'm not good at it, but I'm sitting there thinking, man, I got to do something. This is terrible.
Dude, everything we're not good at just takes practice. And it's hard to confront somebody when they make a comment that's so clouded like that. For me, I watched the episode, I think twice, maybe 3 times before, because it kept going over my head or I was listening to it too fast. But I mean, it's very, the language he uses is very, tricky in my opinion. He doesn't straight up say, oh, it was the Jews who did that, but it's there. It's so there. Yeah.
No, he said it.
Well, somebody like me who doesn't sit around and blame a whole race of people for my, history problems or whatever the fuck. I mean, I have a different brain, different mindset. I don't sit around and think about those kinds of things. Like, how did the Jews do it this time? Oh my God, I don't know. Like, it's fucked up to me that that anybody could ever sit and blame an entire race of people for anything at all, ever. Just my opinion, just my PSA. Don't hate an entire race of people that you don't know.
That's good advice, Nikki.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I had to think about it. I grew up in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by white people. Okay. I hate a lot more white people than I've ever met anybody else, Black, Chinese, whatever. So, I mean, put it into perspective. Are all white people bad? No. Like, I don't like doctors. Doesn't mean I don't stop seeing them.
Yeah, I talk a lot of smack about the Greeks. I do talk a little smack about. Was there an echo? Did you guys hear me?
Oh, that's my.
Oh, okay. I talk smack about the Greeks all the time, but I'm specifically referring to the Greek philosophers. I'm not actually talking about the Greek people. I do talk a little smack about the Jewish scholars, the rabbis, the people who rewrote some history, but I'm not talking about like the Jewish people for crying out. I sure wouldn't like throw some, I don't even really know a lot of slurs, but I wouldn't, and I sure wouldn't with some strangers. Like, have enough sense, be self-aware enough to not just like let that stuff slip. If you're really that big of a douchebag, like at least keep it to yourself,
So I think Anunnaki's part of the element of spinning things where they want to call them aliens, but Anunna, we are descendants of that. So let me just say this without calling it good or bad. But having said that, tall Caucasian.
Anunna means the princes of An. An was the supreme celestial deity, and they did not live some of them lived in the underworld, but the underworld is a bad translation. It really should be translated as the great place or the easterly land. And the axes point to the underworld. You could find them in different cities, in like mountains and stuff, but also in the sky, which we talk about during the readings and stuff. So it was not like they were not talking about aliens or Caucasians, which is what he just said. Caucasian aliens coming up from the ground. So I'll let him go.
Asian bearded people that come from below the earth, that come up to a primitive society or after a reset, or to the indigenous, the black-haired people, which is more than, one culture. The Anunna come up and they either build society again and teach technology, the whole story of Enoch, Enki, Loki onwards, or they take it down, which is what's happening right now. And then there's the Agigi, which throws in the other element of when the moon came, and that's a whole nother thing. But it's mostly under, not up. and that the frames of reference people view, and they want to spin it as alien or from outside the realm, when it's not. It's from below. So that's another thing with the whole ancient aliens versus all that other stuff thing. So yeah, I just ramble, and I'll probably talk forever, so I'm gonna stop.
Yeah. Do you guys know any like ancient alien people? Like, are you in with that crowd? Like, do you know anybody who'd be good to talk? We're trying to put together an ancient aliens show. And I'm like, I just, like I said, I told you guys, I don't get out, so I don't know of anybody.
Yeah,
You're not in. That's not
We've
your
had a
thing.
lot of starseed people on our show, not ancient alien stuff. So a lot of that starseed
gotcha.
type of energy has been on our shows in the past. But,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's all part of a psyop. Now, of course, there's infinity out there, so of course there's things outside of this construct, this realm. But inside this realm, all the UFO, all that other stuff, it actually comes from below. They come up volcanoes, they come up from the water. It's not coming from the sky. No one's going through the sky. No one's
You don't
flying a
think there's
ship
any
through the sky.
possibility?
No one's flying a ship through the sky. No.
Trust me,
So
bro.
it's
Nope.
like totally like outside of the realm of possibility.
Here?
I'm not
I mean, there's
sure.
nothing outside of the realm of possibility, but the ways that people think about it, including the alien abduction, isn't that it's from the underworld. They have advanced technology that does not get reset. So
You seem super sure.
I don't know. Talk to your friend with ARCHAIX and start to spend hundreds of hours viewing it, and maybe you'll.
Yeah,
Well,
because you're
I
so
only bring it up
ignorant.
because, yeah, I got to watch hundreds of hours of ARCHAIX before I'll be able to figure it out. I tend to.
I'm not saying that aliens don't exist. Of course they do. It's infinity out there.
Right, right. Yeah, I take more of the watch his face, you guys. Watch how uncomfortable he gets right now. Hold on, watch. What I don't know, Friar, if you can come up with a word for me. I don't tend to lock myself into any
No.
particular beliefs or ideas, so I just called him out for being programmed and just like totally being closed-minded, and he got like visibly uncomfortable.
You're flexible
Yeah, I'm definitely open to all kinds of stuff.
and curious.
Yeah,
I think,
legitimately.
Abby, I
From-
think.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The only thing I want to say is the things that we are most bombarded with are probably the things that aren't the truth, because they wouldn't give us the truth. They want to give us the things that are going to keep us off track. So when they keep on talking about UFOs and they say they're coming from the sky, I think that there's something that should click off in you. That why do they keep telling me it's coming from the sky? Why do they keep telling me that they're from different planets? Why do they talk about planets all the time? In that sense, Elon and wanting to go to Mars and making it a planet up there. They don't ever talk about underground. They don't ever talk about any of that stuff.
The military does.
Well, the military domes, right? But I mean, do they talk about underground cities?
I mean, some people from the military have spoken about it. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's
It's not like a huge thing, but I mean, USOs are, and like people have been reporting seeing these things come out from under the ground. For sure they do. Like, I mean, I lean more towards it being like an interdimensional thing as opposed to like a subterranean thing. But I mean, I think it could probably be both. I mean, I don't know. I'm not like the expert for sure. My mom, are you guys familiar with, I'm sure you're familiar with Dr. Stephen Greer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my mom does his program, which is basically like teaches you how to communicate with extraterrestrials or whatever. I'm laughing. I love my mom dearly. But she, she's like super into that, and she did, and she got it on video. And it was it didn't come out of the ground or from the sky. It like came into existence, popped into our reality, whatever this is. So I mean, I don't know. I think there's a lot of options out there. I don't know.
Yeah, I love that stuff too. And I just want to say that my mother does quantum healing hypnosis technique and all kinds of stuff, and I grew up on all that. And it's not that of course I'm all into the interdimensional, this element of what you're bringing in. It's just like Greg said, in Revelation, at this great time that we're in during this graduation, what's up is down, what's left is right, and it's part of the game. You know, and as we start to explore more, we'll see why things are focused more one direction as opposed to the other. I believe that with the mining, it's more of our aura, our golden light. And again, that's not soul trap. That's part of the game. But in the game, it is negative. It is evil, and it's with the blue light and everything else. It's you know, harnessing our golden light. It's not actual physical gold.
What is the
comes
blue
to
light
our-
now? The blue light is something now. Like
Probably.
apparently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the specials at Kmart.
That's exactly what I was thinking. The Kmart special, blue lights. Okay. Yeah, he's just full of a lot of he's like an encyclopedia of
Bullshit.
words. Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
strung together and it makes so much sense.
Yeah, that's called word salad, by the way.
Yeah. Very word salady.
He's very confident about it, though.
Yeah, you have to be. You gotta be. You're
Yeah.
gonna sell your services and help people.
How you doing, Friar? Hanging in there? It's about to get real awkward.
I'm about to get real awkward.
Yeah, it's about to get real uncomfortable.
Let's do this.
All
I know
right,
what's
so-
coming. I
Attention
know
and
what's
our
coming.
energy and our programming until people unattach, break away, go their own way, and realize what this realm is actually for.
Yeah, some of that's like Sitchin definitely got into the consciousness, and yeah, I don't know. He's rough to read. Interesting. Like he's definitely it's a good path, you know, some of that stuff gets people interested in other ideas and periods. Same with Velikovsky, and you know, I guess nobody probably knows for sure one way or another, right? We're all just still on the path trying to figure it all out.
Well, you got to remember too that our sensories only go so far. We can't see or hear or whatever. I mean, 99% of what's around us. So if you're saying that they're appearing out of nowhere, that's absolutely could be the case, because this is a simulation world. And in a simulation, anything can happen. I believe we're rendering the world as we walk into it. So
Yeah, I think so too. My thing is, okay, so is this a single player video game or multiplayer? I'm not 100% sure.
well, the thing that, you know, as a child, you're closest to soul. That's what happens when you start changing as an individual. That's what try to keep you inside your wife. When you step out of line, he made me call places and ask odd questions just to see reactions of the matrix to certain questions. So this is the type of things I would run into, have experimented to break my patterns, to break me out of the matrix, to see what's going to happen. So it was really interesting. So I challenge your audience to go out there and just do something a little different each day and see what happens.
I'm 100% on board with that, because you don't realize how integrated into your physiology, your mind, that all of your programs and patterns are. We don't realize it. So yeah, like brush your teeth with your left hand if you're right-handed. Like, see how uncomfortable that is. It's bad.
It might be a little sloppy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this experience is a reflective field, right? It's a reflective field. And to me, you know, we have many of us in this video game or in this realm or in this experience, you know, but in that, you know, you could get into what's real, what's not, NPC programming, the living dead, those that are awakened from outside the construct, and elements of, this great time we're in, this awakening. What Greg's speaking to also is that this reality has to convince you it's a real reality, and it has to build. It's a neutral field inevitably behind it all that has to build as you move. And you have a free will reality personally. There's no destruction, none of that stuff. You're totally fine. It's all up to your consciousness. All of us have an individual, total free will that we can change our coordinates at all times. We can alter our past, we can alter our future, all from the present. But then there's a collective reality that is simulated. And in that simulation, just like the physics constants that we know, pi and phi and whatnot, there's also that in time, not just in space. And in the spatial elements or timing elements, when you look through time, you will start to discover that it is simulated. And there are different variations here or there, but inevitably there are different epochs within the simulation that has different protocols that go off. And we're not here to change it. You can't change it. We're here to learn from it, graduate from it, and grow from it. And so you have this collective simulated reality that many will follow. And then you have the personal free will reality, of which we build our own reality and then synergize and interface with others like us, all of us right here watching right now that are connected together in this experience right now, you know, in synergy. And you can build worlds together, of course, which is what partially the whole cosmic human design system is an assistance to, helping synergy and to build reality within.
I was like,
They just contradict himself like 10 times in that entire little conversation. Because we're supposed to be breaking free of the matrix, right? We're supposed to be breaking free. But he's like, we can go whatever path we want. And then all of a sudden he's like, but we have to finish it out. Like, it just full of shit. Sorry. Keep going. Like, I get.
it's almost over. We're almost done.
Spiritual awareness, but then also you're in this foreign body that needs what it needs.
We muted him, but like we didn't miss anything really. Like he's still rambling.
Use your avatar and your personality to co-create your life with the ultimate source that's beyond the God of this realm, Satan, because there is that protocol put in place to kind of make the game harder, that puts people into dungeon programming or puts people into these, you know, egoic following of something else. But we can unattach from that. We're still going to play back and forth. So the reality is, if you're not living in your life, you're living in the lives of others. This is a challenge. This is a gift. If you're not living in your life proactively, you're living in the life of whatever you want to call that is. There's a reason that the New Testament says that Satan's the God of this world. And I'm not being dark. It's part of the realm, but it's not the God of the infinite creation, the source field, the God field, the divine particle that, you know, that you are and can create everything and everything. You got to start to look at the life like a movie out there. What can I do in my life, my personal reality, and what's real in my life? And then start to see what looks like is not real or is something trying to pull me in a direction that isn't necessarily yours to go towards. And that's the whole element of the true self versus the ego, or meditation, which is being natural, versus the mind that's thinking from you. So you start to gradually, consistently take control, gather your attention, start to direct your thoughts to the coordinates and your feelings to the coordinates, and then your actions to the coordinates that you wish to go, and know that it's a divine experience that's amazing. And we have nothing to worry about with all that's going on, even though Apollo Pharmakia had his bow and shot his poison dart in 2020, when Greek, that's what it means. Even though that stuff's going on and there's more that will continue, that doesn't mean our world's not great. That doesn't mean we can't enjoy our time and utilize it for the best and see it for what it is, and not see it as a bad, but see it as just what it is. And those of us that are here are going our own.
I'm sorry I couldn't speed it up on twice the speed, you guys, but it's almost over, I promise.
I rambled.
No,
Okay.
it's great. Well,
You know
that's
what?
probably. Oh, go ahead, Friar. Go ahead.
I want you to explain to our audience what you meant by tiny hats. I want you to do this right here and right now.
What do you mean?
You, Jaren, tell me about tiny hats.
You did
Yeah.
mention when we were talking about astrology being changed, and then the tiny hats being responsible for some of all of that. I think that's what
Well,
on.
number one,
he wanted off of here so bad. He wished he was like, how do I unplug my computer and just pretend like like none of this happened and just erase the last 2 hours of my life.
it's not to do with people.
Oh,
It's nope. It's to do with elements of control beyond the normal people or the real people, that there is an element of control involved that is in this current epic that we get to explore.
Huh.
But
That's
it's not-
interesting.
But not the people.
No? What people would those be? Go ahead.
Okay. That's probably a good place to wrap it up. We're right at the 2-hour mark, so I'm going to let you guys go. Do appreciate you taking the time. I'll keep you posted when we're going to air it. I'm not 100% sure yet, so we'll let you know. But anybody watching this, you can find. Yeah, I didn't let them know. They weren't going to watch it. You guys, I emailed them, and I'm not going to read you the email, okay? Because it actually kind of goes into a little bit more stuff about the Archaics channel in particular. And I wouldn't harp on this stuff if that guy didn't have such a huge following. And clearly he's melting people's brains. He's ruining people's lives because, like I said, that Greg guy, he seemed pretty reasonable the entire time. But if they're getting sucked into this bullshit, like somebody has to stand up and say no. Just like sometimes Friar has to say, what did you mean by tiny hats? Somebody has to be that person, right? Wouldn't you guys agree? I think you did a great job, Friar.
Yeah, I agree. I think you did a really great job, Friar. And having to hold back and sit with that for an entire hour plus,
2 hours,
burning, like.
Oh, I was hot.
Yeah. Tell us about it. Come on, because you study Kabbalah. You're very devoted. You tell us about your background because they obviously didn't know.
So I study Kabbalah. I came to the knowledge later in life that I am part ethnic Jewish. I was not raised Jewish. This was actually kind of hidden, which kind of tells you a lot to start with. But, I started studying, genealogy. I was like, no kidding. And I found out after I had started studying Kabbalah, and the reason I started studying Kabbalah was because I was at a really low point and I kind of wanted to just kickstart exploration no matter where I went, no matter where it led, no stone left unturned. And I thought, well, people seem to universally like Jesus. And who was Jesus? He was kind of a, mystical, magical Jew. So is there a esoteric Judaism that I could look into? And that's where I got into it. And it's kind of coincidental because, again, at that time, I had no idea. So was there some kind of calling, in my parts of my DNA? I don't know. But
yeah, that's real. That happens.
So yeah. And it was something I never talked about it on the show, right? Like, I think the first time I said anything was in that chat after the tiny hats thing came up. I was like, so I'm an Enneagram 9, right? I'm a peacemaker. I like peace more than anything. But I was confronted with this situation where, peace was not a possibility. Like, there was going to have to be something said because, again, we couldn't let it just fly because people thought, oh, well, Sumerian astrology channel, they're a bunch of, not so great people. And I was angry. I was angry not only because the guy had said what he said, which was enough, but also angry because I felt like he put me in this position. Now, I coach people, right? I do compassionate listening. I work with a lot of people. And one of the common themes is that people don't express their anger in the moment, and then they punish themselves for weeks and months. And I do that too. And so I was also seeing in my head this dilemma that my clients had faced, and here I am now in that dilemma. So I was like, I'm gonna get these fuckers, but I don't know when. There's gonna be a moment. And so I waited and waited and waited. And I saw Abby, like, she was making the move to close the show. And I was like, nope. This is like do or die right now. So I was forced to do something that I find super uncomfortable, something I'm not really good at. And in the end, it was good for me. It certainly was. So, but again, and I'll take another perspective too. I firmly believe that everyone, is connected to the light of God. I do believe that. And so I was confronted with some people who were really far from their connection to better things, right? So I'll just say, I guess they're just going to have to take the scenic route on this particular trip through this reality. And I'm angry. I'm still
You're
angry
still
with those
angry?
guys. I have been angry since it happened.
Oh, okay. All right.
But you know, I've the first week after it, I was kind of a wreck, just because I don't like what anger does to me, right? But if I hadn't said anything, if I had not met the challenge in the way that I very clearly needed to, I would have probably gotten super sick with, you know, my autoimmune stuff. So it was for the best. And sometimes, you know, this was a massive object lesson. So, I mean, rewatching this, I was just as angry. I haven't rewatched. This was the first time I've rewatched it because I just couldn't. But
it was good to revisit it, I think, and it was good kind of that happened anyways. I mean, not just for you being able to grow from it, but I mean, we're new to streaming live. Like, we don't know, and having guests, we don't know how to handle stuff like that. Like, we're totally noobs at this.
Yep,
So
I think now we know why they're on Rumble.
Yeah, for sure. I wondered about that too, but you can get away.
It's so funny because as he's talking, he's literally showing how he's living out these current transits. Mars had to have been in Gemini or something too. Like, it had to have been moving into Cancer. I'm just like looking and listening to him talk and like reading the like body language, and they're literally like their whole minds, everything is. It's very close to what the transits are talking about right now. I mean, we have Saturn in Aquarius, and it's funny, they're not even astrologers. They're not even like I think if they actually looked and studied one fucking thing instead of looking at all of it and then stirring the pot and just pulling out whatever fucking stories they want that fit that mood that day.
I get clients.
Yeah. I'm just totally disturbed by what I've heard, actually, and I can't believe it. I had a conversation with a client, well, a customer actually, who I was trying to like get their chart information, but I immediately stopped because I had brought up this conversation, and I had brought up this particular YouTuber, Archaics, and this person that I was talking to literally was like, well, you don't know that. You don't know if the Jews are really running the world. And I was like, I think we have better like chances of motherfucking aliens running the world than we do an entire like race of people. So even in real life out there, guys, out in the walking world, there are people like that out there who are very, very confused. And it's very, very disturbing.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, he just kept referencing the Bible, but nothing he was saying was
he
like,
was referencing the New Testament.
The New Testament, yeah, okay. Has he read about the Council of Nicaea? Has he read about any of the history around the Bible and what it's actually pertaining to? It's all astrology. Like, I mean, if you look back at it, it's all the straight, and you read it, it's all old stuff. They were like, let's just grab this, let's just change this, let's put this together, and we're going to create a new world order. And that's exactly what they did. He's talking about all these changes and all this stuff, all this fucking Pluto just moved into Capricorn. That's the beginning of a new cycle. You're going to see a lot of shit fall apart. Pluto moving out of Sagittarius into Capricorn it's been so fucking obvious, seeing all of the secrets come out, all of this stuff come out, all of the, way we do things and our, like, the foundations of our being, of our living, everything. I mean, it's all changing. So, I mean, in a way, what they're feeling and what they think they know, they're not wrong. I mean, it's there, but their ideas around it, or I shouldn't say the other guy, but Jaren or whatever, the idea around it is very convoluted.
Right. Yeah, I mentioned that in the letter I wrote to him. If you guys want to stick with me here, I emailed them the next day because
Let's do the letter. Yeah.
Yeah, I took their advice, and I woke up. I rolled out of bed, didn't get anything to eat, didn't drink any coffee because I don't do that anymore.
Right, and just to also clarify, after the show, Abby and I had to have a powwow, which we don't normally do because it was so gnarly. It was like, what are we going to do? What the hell are we going to do with this show? And so that's when I think later was when Abby wrote the letter. Sorry to interrupt.
Nope. You're all set. Yeah. So I spent the next many hours of my day, probably most of the day, going through and trying to figure out what is going on. So I went to the very beginning of Dude's channel, and I went through and started looking at these beliefs that they were talking about, and it started to make sense. So all that gibberish they were talking about, Diego, yes, we do curse on this channel. I apologize if that's difficult for you. Just so you know. I'm prior military, and we're all very honest people, and we don't hold back. So
yeah, and if this was, let me just tell you, this was very emotionally charged for me, and I can get spicy expressive, and if that's a problem, sorry.
Yes,
not sorry.
We swear a lot, so apologies. All right, so this is what I told them. Hi, Greg and Jaren. Thanks again for taking the time to talk with us yesterday. It was certainly an eye-opening experience. It's clear you both care about helping people, and I'm sure you've been a point of light and positivity in the lives of those around you, and I mean that with all sincerity because, I'm about to shit all over everything. I took your advice and watched a handful of what seemed like the most pertinent videos on ARCHAIX channel to get a better idea of what some of Brashear's theories are. I hope you'll be able to read what I'm about to share with an open mind. I doubt it. Okay, so I'd like to preface the following. I organized it, you guys. It's not just one run-on thing. Paragraphs are broken up. Like I made it more like a research paper so it would be easier for them to actually go through. I'd like to preface the following with some points of agreement. I have no problem speculating on the nature of reality based on observation, personal experience, and scientific or even anecdotal evidence. I would also agree that there are now and have always been people/organizations throughout history who have sought to hide and manipulate the record for their own purposes. Unfortunately, I suspect Jason Brashears is doing something similar. Whether out of ignorance or for some other purpose, I couldn't say. So while I'm an expert in few things, and thus cannot speak with any authority on the geological record, I am an expert on the Sumerian language and the astronomical record of the Mesopotamians. Thus, I'll be focusing primarily on Brashear's linguistic and historical assertions. First and foremost, Jason Brashears can read all the English translations of ancient texts he likes, but unless he can read them in the original languages, Sumerian, Akkadian, Assyrian, Babylonian, Aramaic, Coptic, Ancient Greek, or Latin, he's at the mercy of the translator. As you must know, not only can a lot be lost in translation, nearly anything can be manipulated to fit the translator's narrative. His mistranslation of the Sumerian Shad is especially alarming, considering so much, if not all, of his theories, proposed timelines, and resets depend upon this translation. While there is debate as to the meaning of some rarely occurring Sumerian words, there is no debate as to the meaning of the word Shar. It means 3,600. The Sumerian numerical system was sexagesimal, a hybrid base 10, base 60 system that allowed for precise counting and measurements. The word Shar not only represents wholeness and totality as a concept, it represented the perfect expression of their base 60 system. Basically, it was 60 by 60 is 3,600. So that was like the epitome of it. To reinterpret or reduce Shar to mean one, as in the number one, or to say that it somehow represents revolution of a sun or a single day would have thrown their entire numerical system into chaos and made much of their textual records, of which there are tens of thousands, unreadable, as many of these were accounting documents. Additionally, Shar was a cardinal number not specifically related to units of time unless otherwise implied via context. Furthermore, there were a myriad other ways to express day, time, and year, and none of them were Shar. They had like a ton of words, you guys. Okay, so as for the Anuna gods, As for his interpretation of the Anunnaki, princes of An, he seems to imply they resided in the underworld, which is another outdated translation. A better one would be Great Place, and I already explained this earlier. I get the impression this is also part of the reason Jaren was so adamant that UFOs emerged from beneath the ground and not the sky. But while some of the Anuna gods did inhabit the netherworld, just as many resided in the celestial realm. And as far as Mesopotamian cosmology was concerned, the entrance to this great place could be accessed in the sky, such as the 2 axis points in Cancer and the one between Sagittarius and Capricorn. Constellations, which is where Pluto is. I believe it's not totally in Capricorn, but I could be wrong. It's like right there in the middle. Constellations which were created by the Sumerians and not the Greeks, as Brashear claims. As for Nibiru, being the home planet of the Anuna gods, the Enuma Elish calls Nibiru Marduk star, and the Mulapin makes it clear that it's synonymous with Jupiter, Marduk star. To those unfamiliar with Mesopotamian astronomy, this might seem strange, but alternative names, titles, and epithets for planets and constellations and the gods themselves were ubiquitous in textual records. In fact, Marduk Jupiter and many of the other gods had entire litanies of names depending on the month, geographic location, and even historical period. They had thousands of names, you guys. Furthermore, I find the outright dismissal of the ancient Near East history outrageous. Even without the geological and archaeological record, the linguistic record demonstrates the continuous evolution over a period of no less than 3,000 years, circa 3400 BCE, when the earliest records of Sumerian pictograms were discovered. Even if archaeologists and historians wanted to lie about these dates, and I'm sure some do, the Mesopotamian records correlate to celestial events which can and have been verified. So basically, you can look at a Sumerian text and look at the grammatical elements. First of all, you can see an evolution over the 3,000-year period, but you can also date a text based on like slight little changes, like did they put an extra consonant in here? You can tell where it was from and what period it was from. And he clearly, he doesn't know about any of this. So not only that, but despite it remaining relatively intact, we see an evolution of the Sumerian language over thousands of years, which is so precise. Oh, that's what I just said. We can date and place text geographically simply by variations in grammatical features and spelling variations. As for the vapor canopy, while a global vapor canopy at some point in history is certainly possible, there's absolutely no evidence in the Mesopotamian record, which predates the biblical record by at least 2,000 years, if not more. Additionally, the biblical record is no more than a retelling of the earlier Sumerian record. I'm happy to provide you with as many examples as you can handle supporting this assertion. In short, the Mesopotamians had no trouble viewing the sky at any time, which is what he's saying. I wonder if Brashears realizes how many hundreds of thousands of written documents in their fragments we actually have, many of which are available to the public. Lack of citation. Nowhere in any of the videos I watched does Brashear cite or refer to any of his sources. In one video, he claims to have documented 720 dates and over 1,000 events spanning from 5,239 BCE to 1 BCE, including information about major disasters, city dynasties, and rest/peace periods, which he claims supports his reset theory, but provides no access to said data sets for cross-checking. I would have thought he'd want every person on Earth to have access to this paradigm-shattering information, especially any potential detractors, but, clearly he didn't do that. All right. From what I've gathered, Brashear seems to have selected specific events which align with his theory while ignoring conflicting data. For instance, he references 21 events supposedly occurring on a 138-year cycle, yet fails to account for the numerous other disasters and or periods of peace that don't fit this pattern. For example, the Black Death, Libsyn earthquake, San Francisco earthquake, Indian Ocean tsunami, so on and so forth. Of course, these are just a handful of examples. While he could make the claim that the dates of the older events have been manipulated, many of these happened within recent memory. As for the periods of peace and stability lasting more than 138 years, see the following: the Pax Romana, the Victorian era, Song Dynasty, period of peace in China. I agree that there are cycles inherent in nature and that many of these can be identified and tracked, such as solar cycles and storms, planetary returns, etc. But to reduce all of nature's complexities down to 138 years seems like a stretch, especially considering the potential infinity of the cosmos and reality. It makes just as little sense to attribute this cycle to some program in the simulation, especially considering what we call cosmological constants are not exactly constant. The speed of light, melting points of chemicals, and gravity, which do vary, to name a few. On an aside, I know it's hard to track down, or how hard it is to track down scholarly materials before and after the internet, okay? I'm sure Nikki, Friar, you guys know too. That someone got access to hundreds of these in prison seems a little fantastic. I won't comment on his criminal charge, other than I hope his version of the story is true, which, by the way, from what I understand, when he was in his early 20s, he says, I tried to find the actual like police reports and stuff, and I can't find it. I just know that he was sentenced to 30 years. I think he did 21 for aggravated sexual assault or kidnapping or something. But basically, he says he was driving a car. They stopped. Him and his friend got in a fight in the back seat with his girlfriend, and the next thing he knew, the girl's clothes were off or something, and then they gave him, he got like he was an accessory, even though that's not what it states. He doesn't state him as like the accessory to aggravated sexual assault. So you guys can fill in the blanks there, whatever. Okay, for further research and final thoughts, I realize I've only watched his YouTube videos and that he might present more evidence in his books, but in truth, I've seen him present nothing but logical fallacies and outright errors, and statistically, the odds of him providing accurate information in his books don't seem great. He seems to possess no expertise nor any special knowledge. To the contrary, he strikes me as someone who at best knows how to work the YouTube algorithm and at worst is a sort of cult leader. Our offense at the tiny hats comment aside, I was left with the distinct impression that at the very least, Jaren has traded one false matrix for another. Greg, you didn't make any outlandish claims or say anything unreasonable as I recall, but Jaren, you seem to have made up your mind how the universe works. It's regrettable that someone so obviously uninformed as Brashears has played such a large role in formulating those beliefs. Of course, this was just my cursory assessment. I'm happy to provide you with a thorough dissertation dissecting all of Brashears' work if you'd like. It certainly wasn't my intention to spend my morning debunking archaics, but you did suggest I look into it, and as I said, I'm something of a research junkie. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we never heard back. So, good times. Friar, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yep. I was muted. Sorry.
No worries. Were you playing guitar over there?
Oh, yeah, totally. I was rocking
Lorna's
out.
Adventures After 50 says, this point exactly what brought me to this channel, not astrology. What was the point? I don't know, because I wasn't looking. I don't know what I was reading.
I wasn't.
Learn source language. Read a book about ancient calendars, including Akkadian references as a kid. Always left questions as you can handle. Yes, what else do we have in here? Diego's fine with the swearing.
I'm sorry, Diego. I just, I love to swear. I love it.
I'm
sorry.
I'm not sorry.
I didn't used to.
I'm not
I was in the military. It's like second nature now.
Yeah, I was raised by a psychopathic airborne ranger, so.
Yeah. I
That'll
too was raised by a psychopath, but yeah.
Chrissy's Country Kitchen said, or readings by Chrissy said, sorry, but he sounded like a politician, just a bunch of words that doesn't make sense. Yeah, that's absolutely the case. Man, you guys are on fire in the comments today. Diego says, and I saw UFOs in Mexico. They are older brother, aka angels.
Yeah, I totally believe that aliens are angels. I think that's what we've been seeing. I think it's really cool. We are having a little bit of a disclosure thing going on. It's starting. So is he wrong that they're coming from underground? No. I mean, we haven't really proven the whole Hollow Earth theory. He got into Hollow Earth theory even though he didn't say it. That's just I haven't been there. I haven't been to Antarctica to see what the hell's going on. So I mean, it could, it could be true, Hollow Earth, but I mean, we could be on a big floating spaceship. This could all just be some soap opera that we're playing out for fun. I mean, nobody really knows the truth. Everyone wants the truth, and they've got all the answers. And
nobody knows anything about anything.
Nobody knows anything.
I don't know. I don't really know.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't really know shit. I only know what I think I know, and I'm always finding out every single day that it might not be true. It might not be real. Look at Chiron.
Yep.
Totally convinced. I'm like, wow, and now I'm confused.
The ancient wisdom of 1977.
77. I'm sure it was a fabulous year, 1977.
I remember it well.
Yeah. Yeah, the 70s were pretty good. I wanted to say, guys, the Greek era. I know, like, Abby, you're not in love with the Greek era, okay? But you need to put it into perspective. The Greek era to me was like how the 80s was to the 1900s, okay? Like, you know how the 80s were, where everybody had their hair fucking teased, and they're putting unicorns and rainbows and Lisa Frank shit all over everything. It got really weird, okay? I don't know. We were all kind of small, like I was little in the 80s, but I remember it being fucking weird. And I think that's what the Greeks did. They were like, oh, let's take all this cool shit and fucking, we'll hairspray it, tease it up, and blow it up into something bigger. You can still get some good information. My point being, if you can get past the hairspray and the fucking neon pink and yellow spandex shorts, you can see that there is some actual real history and stuff there. But
it's better than nothing. If that's all you have,
better than nothing.
Yes, I would say so. And I respect what they were doing. I know they were just trying to figure everything out and make a good system. It would be cool though if they just would have maintained like also some of the original stuff, but they didn't.
Yeah, history goes past. History goes way past the Greeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it doesn't end. Like it just keeps.
It's also amazing how easily civilizations lost information. Like the Europeans, like the Western Europeans, forgot Greek for a long time. And that's what the Renaissance was about, because Marsilio Ficino and Pico della Mirandola could speak Greek. And the Medicis were like, cool, we got all this Greek material that no one can read, like Plato and Hermes Trismegistus. So would you mind translating it for us? How do you forget Greek? But it happens.
Yeah.
Rise and fall. It's always the rise and fall of civilizations and cultures. It's just part of the show.
Speaking of the show, you guys got 10 more minutes to take a look at the sky? I
got all kind of time. For you on your
I
birthday?
Thanks, you guys.
It is your birthday. Yes, that's right. Let's take a look at the sky. I love when you do the sky readings, Abby.
So sweet. You guys are my favorite people.
Oh.
Solarium. Let's see if I can do this. Now I figured out how to do it. So can you guys see it and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Looks good.
Sure can.
Let me check the date. Is this the right date? Time 24/12/18. That is the correct date and time. All right. So as you guys can see, the sun is, I don't know, technically it's 2 degrees of Sagittarius, but we could make that case here for being in Ophiuchus. It's basically conjunct with the galactic center. So congratulations to me and everyone else born on this day or during this time, because a strong galactic center in your chart makes you a force of nature on some level. You're usually not super needy. And the reason for this is really interesting. And I probably talk about this every time, but when you have a strong galactic center, it doesn't have to be your sun here. There's a lot of other stuff that goes on. But the galactic center acts as kind of like the cosmic representation of your crown chakra, which is the best way I can explain it. That's like where we pull in all of like our psychic information or download their spiritual stuff. Usually if you have a strong galactic center, you're going to feel connected all the time, so much to the sense where like you might not realize you're doing anything special. It's coming naturally to you. So you're less likely to feel lonely or like you have that connection to God, your ancestors, your angels, your deities, your whatever it is, your higher self. I don't care what you want to call it. So that's definitely a good thing. Now, while the sun is here, everybody gets access to this, and it's much stronger. Now, if you live in the West or something, or even, I guess in a lot of different parts of the world, depending on what's going on, this is a time usually of people being more social and getting together with family and whatnot. So we probably wouldn't notice too much anyways if we're feeling less needy and that type of thing. But everybody's intuition is increased during this period, okay? This is one of the access points. Technically the access point to the underworld moved over like thousands of years to the point where in like the Sumerian period it was over here, but it originally was closer to here, at least, back when their civilization was getting started and whatnot. So we all have access to it. Let's take advantage of it. Tune into your intuition. Do some meditations. I didn't get to meditate today. I really wanted to, but my mother-in-law is coming this weekend, and I have stuff I have to handle. Venus here in Capricorn. This was Tashmetu. I mentioned this early in the video. She was a grantor of requests. She was the divine doctress. It's all love and nurturing and healing. And with Venus in here, this is basically our heart, whether that is despair or bliss or, rage. I mean, your heart can go in a lot of different directions, right? This is a really, really good placement. Now, it does make everybody a little bit more empathic during this period, but it is a time for healing in the body and in the emotions. So any work that you're doing in these areas, like Friar confronting his proverbial demons here with the discomfort and having to confront people, this is a fantastic time to do that. He's going to get way more out of this while Venus is here in Capricorn. And if you're already naturally empathic, you're probably getting hit really hard with some intense energy. I know I've heard a lot of reports of people, because of all the drone stuff going on, I have heard a lot of people are having like weird like sensations and feelings and dreams are, all over the place. Some of this could be contributing to our sensitivity. Saturn's still here in Aquarius. It's been here for a while. Hold on, you guys. Let me find Pluto now. I'm just curious. I want to see Pluto still right here between. Let me pull up, you guys. Stand by. Wait, where did Pluto go? Pluto. I just had you. Pluto. Yes. And then F5. Walking myself through it, you guys. 2025, 24. Okay, I'd say 2037. I guess maybe around 24. Well, it's probably around that time period, but it's definitely the one Jaren was talking about. But it's definitely not like it's a 30-year transit, give or take, you guys. Every 30 years there's a new cycle with Pluto. So it's not the end of the world. It's not like these are natural changes that happen all the time. Where are we at? December 18th. Okay. So Jupiter in retrograde over here, swinging back towards the true shepherd of, or excuse me, the bull's jaw, the crown of Anu, here in the high 80s. Very creative, very a lot of people wanting to learn, get new information. The Creates and the Pleiades. No, you guys help. Hyades, the Hyades, yes, that's it. The Hyades were associated with creativity and learning and knowledge, and a lot of Mercury associations, at least as far as the Sumerian period is concerned. So the Jupiter here is going to intensify some of that, and if that's something that comes very easily to you or is very natural to you, you're going to get that much more intensely than your average person. Mars, still here in Cancer. It's going to be swinging back up until March into Gemini, but this is basically him being right at home. He was the god of the underworld, and so he represents our intimacy, our sense of self, our identity, kind of some of that ego stuff that we were hearing about earlier, but not in a bad way. It's just our processing of ourselves as individuals and trying to get real with ourselves. So here in Cancer, that allows us to do that to a much deeper degree. Please meditate, do your inner work, contact Friar or people like him. People who can help you rip off some of the band-aids and get way down deep and be the real you, okay? Like you get really in touch with who you are. What else we got going on? What did I miss, you guys? Mercury still here in kind of conjunct with Antares we can make the case it's in the cusp here between Libra and Scorpio, also Ophiuchus. But this is a great time for listening to others, understanding their needs, trying to figure out yourself in the process. But if you have a career in particular where you deal with people who need support or counseling or anything along those lines, this is definitely your time. Okay, so get out there and take advantage of it. All right, I'll stop. Nikki, what do you got for us?
I wouldn't add anything else to it. Actually, this last moon cycle just kicked my ass. It kicked my ass. Like it beat me the fuck up. Okay, you guys. I can read the stars. I know that it was highlighted like this could be a drama cycle. And I really tried my best not to be a part of drama, but I got sucked into drama. The moon even hit like the Pleiades, and I almost got into a physical fight with a woman.
Me too.
Yeah. It was like throwdown. trailer park kind of fucking drama shit that I didn't even like make, or like I didn't fucking go out there trying to look for it. It found me. So it was a wonderful cycle filled with a lot of purging, and I'm really glad Mercury's not in retrograde anymore. So yeah, I'm still recovering, actually. So I hope the rest of you hibernate, get some rest, drink lots of water.
Yes.
I haven't really.
Yeah, you have to medicate. Keep it medicinal. Yeah.
Usually, when everyone else in their astrological stuff is, causing problems, I'm over here like, no, everything's still the same. Everything's great every single day. But last week, or a couple days before, I think it was like last Wednesday, when my rats got sick. It's been like nonstop every single day over the last week or so. But it made me think of you talking about the moon cycle and stuff, and some of the drama, because I definitely got a little bit of that this week.
I got a good fat dose, and I'm really hoping that this next cycle is a little bit more forgiving. So
It's
a little bit nicer. I think it is. I think it was, a lot of the retrogrades we came out of and went into. So, I mean, it's just a whole mishmash of energies creating a whole bunch of shit for me. Yeah. Just my personal journey, guys. I hope you guys all had a wonderful, wonderful month. I hope Christmas is amazing. If you celebrate Christmas, yeah, I hope you have a good birthday. I hope you have a good rest of your birthday day is over, Abby, but do you like celebrate the whole week? Are you like, that's it, I'm taking the...
No, but I knew I was going to be on the call today, so we're going to Baden-Baden tomorrow. It's like an outdoor, it's like the German one, but it's all fake, like hot tubs and outdoor heated pools and stuff.
Yes.
So it should be fun.
Oh my God. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lorna asked, I think, Lorna asked, do you actually meditate in the group, or is it mainly support? It is strictly support. I would not put you through a meditation on a Zoom call with all of us, because I don't know that I could manage that. Meditation for everybody is so different that, I don't know. I'm not like a group meditation person.
Yeah, everybody has different goals too. So it's mainly just to share ideas. This last time, JJ brought up Double J. He brought up remote viewing.
Double J.
Oh, brought up and had so many really good recommendations for YouTube channels. So, God, yeah, I still have to check that out. I still have to check out what he recommended, but yeah, remote viewing, aliens now.
Okay.
Who knew, right?
Yeah, we go into all of it. So whatever somebody needs and wherever the conversation wants to go. You guys, thank you so much for being with us today. I had so much fun. I watched that video with those dudes like at least 12 times. Like at a minimum. I was cracking myself up like the entire time. But I guess that's the Enneagram 9, right? Isn't that what
8.
they do? I like that. Oh, the 8. You're the 9.
Yes.
That's right. See, numbers. They're
That's fine. It's okay. I'm probably gonna, my next series on my blog is probably gonna be about the Enneagram, because I've gotten so many questions.
Oh, okay.
So
it is really interesting. It's definitely interesting.
Yeah. Super useful.
I think next week, Lorna and I are going to be on. Friar, I don't know if you're jumping on, Nikki, if you're going to be able to, but
I think I can.
Lorna, I think it's chat with Lorna is your thing. I doubt there's 2 Lornas in the chat, but possibly, I don't know. But whichever Lorna, I don't know which one it is, is going to be on with us. I mean, I know who she is, or who you are. I just don't know if there's more than one of them.
I'm going to try to be there. I'm going to try to be on the call. So yeah, I think it'll be fun.
That's Christmas morning, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in the meantime, you guys if you celebrate Christmas and you're not Russian Orthodox or one of the Orthodox, because Christmas is in January for all of us. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Oh shoot. Happy Hanukkah, Friar, help. Is that late? Are we late? Happy Diwali. That was a while ago.
I was raised as a Christian, so
Okay. You don't do the Hanukkah? Okay.
I missed out.
You should start it. Start doing it.
I could.
Get some presents. Me and the ex-wife used to. I told you guys she was super
Yeah.
Jewish. Yeah. So we used to do
What's the holiday from Seinfeld again? Do you guys remember?
Oh,
Yeah.
He celebrates.
I do.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm drawing a blank.
I can't remember the name of it.
Shows that I don't celebrate.
It was Festivus, wasn't it?
Festivus, yeah. Festivus for the rest of us.
Yeah. We definitely have the airing of grievances, that's for sure.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. That's what it was reminding me of.
All right. Well, thanks again, you guys. We love you, and we
Yes.
do. I think I speak for Friar, Nikki, and myself. We do love you, and we just want everybody to live a wonderful life of bliss and joy. And yeah, so thanks again, and take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you
Bye.
later.
Happy birthday.
Happy Festivus. Oh, yeah. Happy birthday.